I just realized that I did tonight's entire class without recording anything. And I feel like a big ding dong. I want to go over the things that I went over in the class really quick, and you can watch this recording. Please feel free to ask me any questions you need to, and I will answer them. One of the things that I did, uh, we have the kits. The kits are in. I want everybody to know that. And I'm going to share my screen here really quick. I have added a new assignment to the attendance where you need to pick up your kit. This is really vital. This shows a couple of pictures of where the kits are located. It's in room 519 of the Gunther building on the left-hand side of the doorway, or on the hallway as soon as you go through the door. And you can see this is room 519 of the Gunther. I believe the restrooms are right over here on the left-hand side before you go into the room 519. This is the sculpture lab on the 5th floor of the Gunther building. And then as you go in past the door on the left-hand side against the wall, you will see all the kits here. And right here is a sheet that you write down your name, your student ID, and I believe it's your phone number. That way we can keep track of everybody that's picked up their kits. And if you have to have somebody go in and pick up your kit for you, that is no problem at all. You have them write down that information for you. You can say, hey, I'm so-and-so picking up the kit for this person, and the last 4 digits of their student ID is this, or whatever you need to do. The building is open, and here's another picture of that, as you can see. Like I said, the kits are all done, ready to be picked up. Now, the Gunther building is open from 7 to 11, Monday through Saturday. If on Saturday it is locked on the 5th floor, go up to the 6th floor. That's the entrance that's on the same level as the Norda theater building. And you go in on those big doors that face the east side parking lot that's there on the 6th floor. Go in those big doors. You'll see a stairwell to your left. Go down those stairs. Don't use the outside door. Use the inside door. Go in through there, and you'll go down a hallway. And at the end of that hallway, you'll turn left, then you'll turn right, and that's where the room 519 is. You need to get this kit by Sunday. Pick it up by Sunday, and make sure that for this assignment to get, you will take a photo of the sheet. Submit an image of your name and info on the yellow sheet you see here in these wondrous images. Now, if your family member or a roommate have to pick this up for you, have them take a photo. If they forget, just submit saying, hey, so-and-so picked this up for me. I have my kit. They forgot to take a photo or it didn't work, whatever. All right, and that's how you take care of that. And of course, I just canceled out everything and I have to set this up again. So I'm sorry about that. I can't believe I forgot to record. Well, no, I can believe I forgot to record this. And I'm going to share my screen again and walk you through all these things that we covered. I know this is going to be boring, and I'm sorry. And it is entirely my fault because I'm the one who messed up. So this is what my part of the class looks like. So that assignment is under attendance, directly underneath attendance and participation. It's the first assignment there. It says September 8th is the due date. You need to get this done as soon as you possibly can. Pick that kit up. It is vital that you get the kit. Now, you can make do. Several people are asking questions about what they could do about the house and stuff like that. Several people use their own materials to make it. And again, it needs to be the size of 2 of your fists together. That's fine. Use your own materials. That's great. But there are file folders that you can use that will give you a stable house. And I want to show you a couple of images of houses of what people have already turned in. Okay, here is one. I really like what the person has done on this. I think they did a really good job. Um, and this is to give you some ideas about what you could do for the house. Let's see, and I'm going to show you another one too. But before I show you this, I want to talk about this guy a little bit. One of the people in the class mentioned that one thing they liked about this is that you have a physical texture, like with this, with the pink paper cut into strips and applied like that. And then you also have a drawn texture. The red doorway, you have these kind of lines, where it looks like what the doorway could have been made out of smaller pieces of wood. So they drew a texture on, and they have physical texture. Now, if we look at this other house that I think is really interesting, this one, they used cardboard that they had. They painted the cardboard. They applied this looks like clover that they found. And then this is not glass. It's actually saran wrap, it looks like, that they applied to give a different texture so you could see in. And a little doorway on it and a sign right there. I think that this is really a creative solution to wanting to get the house accomplished, but not having the materials in the kit. You can use your own supplies. When you do have the kit and you want to make the house out of that material, that is great. Use your own supplies to augment what is in the kit. This person found material outside. You can do that. You can make shingles out of pieces of bark or leaves that you find. Things like that are great. Really some good solutions. And then part of that assignment is also going to be uploading images of your house to the discussion. Now, this leads me to another element of the class that I think is really important. We talked about sculpture-based photography. That's this first module. And in the assignment, or I'm sorry, in the discussion part of this module, what you need to do is the images that you see that other students are doing. And you're going to do this on each of 3 of your fellow students' work. People start uploading, you'll have more opportunity to do this. If at the time that you turn your house in and submit this to the discussion, you don't see that anybody else has stuff up, that doesn't matter. Come back, and that's when you submit. For that you see that you're going to be responding to in this discussion, you're going to be writing 3 different things. For A, you're going to be writing 15 words about how they involve the viewer. For B, you're going to be writing 15 words about how they capture different responses to the house structure. And C, is it spooky? Is it happy? Is it fun? Is it dramatic? C, you're going to be writing 15 words about how, by changing focal point, depth of field, and viewpoint, they succeeded in varying images of their house. Now, I also have you refer to tools of artistic critique here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm showing all this to you without you seeing it. Let's see. There we go. Discussion, you're going to upload your 5 images onto the discussion, and then you're going to respond to the 5 images of each of 3 of your fellow students. And for each of those, you're going to be wording 5 words. And this is the layout of the words. You're going to find one other student, write 15 words about how they involve the viewer, how the different emotions in their house, the different responses, and how they vary the depth of field, 15 words for each of those three things. Then you're going to find a second student, do this. So for that they submitted, and then they are going to respond to three others. Has I don't know why that thing is in there. Nobody else other than these two people have submitted things. So as the submissions roll in, you will have greater opportunity to share and respond. This is one of the reasons why it is important as you finish your project to upload it to the discussion board as soon as you can, so that other people see your stuff. Since we don't meet in person, it's really difficult to get a handle on what other students are doing unless everybody submits to those things. Now, I also wanted to, let's see, I think what I want to do is talk to you about the tools of artistic critique a little bit, that process, and then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the artist research and service learning, because I've had some questions about this. Again, I'm the only one here because the students that did attend live, the recording didn't happen. I don't know why. That happens every once in a while, and it is sad. Now, on this, applying the tools of artistic critique, when you go to click to this first page, it describes the purpose of artistic critique, and it gives examples. I need you to watch these videos for the examples. And then you're going to click on this link, Tools of Artistic Critique. This is the same that was in the very opening module for the class. It talks about description, analysis, interpretation, and evaluation. Each of these steps need to be done in sequence. First, you describe the physical properties of the art that you're looking at. Second, you analyze. This means you're kind of figuring out what that artist did to get those effects or to make that. Interpret. This is when you start guessing as to what it could possibly mean. What does it mean for you, but guessing at what the artist intended for it to mean. And then evaluate. This is when you are asking yourself, is it successful? Now you'll notice with each one, describe, you're not using a lot of imagination. When you are making the description, you're talking about what you see, and you're trying to use precise language. Ask yourself these questions and answer these questions in succession. You don't have to ask them out loud, but ask them to yourself as you're looking at this object. For analysis, you're injecting a little bit more of you're injecting a little bit of your imagination, trying to figure out what the artist did to get different textures and effects on the piece. Interpretation, this is when you're starting to engage with what you imagine, who you imagine the artist to be, and kind of asking that little mental avatar, why did they make these choices? What are they trying to say? Can you guess what the artist's worldview is? So you're injecting even more of your imagination there. And then evaluation, this is all you. Why do you think it's successful? Why do you think it has value? And again, for each of these four steps, there are questions to consider where you ask yourselves as you're going through the process. Don't ask it out loud, but ask it of yourself. You notice that each succeeding step, you're injecting more and more of your imagination or your own unique self. And I think that's really important to remember. I'm going to go back 2 steps to that module again. These 2 things This is when you are applying those steps of artistic critique, those tools of artistic critique, to an example of your own work, an example of somebody else's work. This is one of the reasons why it's so important to put your work on the discussion board, because that's the only opportunity that we have to see each other's stuff. And these artistic critiques, we will talk more about them, but you're going to be filming. You probably do like a Teams meeting where you do a screen share with an image of your work and then somebody else's work. You're going to be doing 2 separate videos like that. They're only going to be about 3 to 5 minutes long each. It'll be basically a static image of the work that you're talking about, and then you're going to be carefully going through each of the 4 steps of artistic critique, each of those 4 tools. And there are some examples. Like right here, it says critiques from class. This is where the examples are. Now, I know that it says it's not due until November 29th. If you do it early, you do get extra credit. The reason why I stress that is because I want people to look at those examples and I want you to start trying, because it'll be one less thing for you to do later on in the term, or 2 less things if you do both of these early. But also it really helps you one of the mandates for this class is to develop the language and articulation so that we can intelligently speak about art. And this really helps you to do that in a very practical way. So, and we'll talk more about it next week. Now, remember, the kits are done. We need to get them. You need to pick them up as soon as you possibly can, because the next project, you're going to have the kit. And you can have a friend, a neighbor, a family member pick that up. If you can't do it, do the best you can. If you didn't take a photo of your name on that sheet of paper saying you picked it up, then you need to show me a photo that you have the kit, something like that. And that's what you submit. You'll let me know that you've got the kit, you picked it up. Now, before we move to module 2, defining volumetric form with line. Line is the wire, that's in the kit, that's why you have to have it. I want to talk about this, the service learning and artist research. There are sections of each of these 4 modules that have to do with artist research and service learning. That's 7.A, 7.B, 7.C, 7.D. The sections for each of those modules will have one element for everybody to do, but there is also elements for you to do only if you're in the artist research or only if you're in the service learning, and they're labeled that, okay? Here's an introductory page to read. This artist list, this is for everybody to do. It's a list of artists, and if we look at that, we have artists modules, and you pick, for this particular assignment, you pick 1 from each of the modules, and then you pick 6 from this area where it says other artists that are good to know. And for each one, you're going to do an internet search to find images of work that they do. And for each one, you're going to write down the name of the artist, then the title of one of the artworks you found, and then a short 5 to 8 word description of the piece. Like Andy Goldsworthy, Wandering Wall, and then the description will be something like, it's a serpentine wall that he made out of rocks collected by a river. And that's the description. That's how hard it is. This should not take you a super long time. 45 minutes or less. Again, that assignment is for everybody in 7A. First, do no harm. Everybody needs to watch that. Second, this is a link to the video. Everybody needs to watch that. It's called The Second Disaster. Third, everybody needs to do this. This is where you declare if you're going to do artist research or service learning. Do you want to do a service project, or would you rather do the straightforward artist research? Either way, that's where you declare that. The reason why you need to declare that is if you choose artist research, you're only responsible for the artist research option assignments. If you're going to do service learning, you're only responsible for the service learning option assignments. So for this first one, artist research option, this is where you pick your artist from the list of artists on the artist list. And the artist you pick has to be from this list of 75 artists. And you're going to be talking about why, you're going to be explaining a little bit about why you selected them. Now, if you're going to do the service learning, go to this, follow directions there. It's a little bit of self-reflection on what kinds of things you can do and who to talk to set up your service project. In the work log, this is for everybody. Now, the reason why I want you to do artist research or service learning and declare that is if you go to 7B, the artist research person needs to write an annotated bibliography. Service learning people do these two assignments. Notice that annotated bibliography is 40 points. Each of these two are 20 points. It's about the same level of number of hours in work. Then everybody does a work log. This is really important. In 7A, I did have a couple people turn in. They had declared themselves for artist research, but they turned in things with service learning. They get extra credit. You don't need to do that. You only turn in stuff. If you're an artist research, you only turn in artist research stuff. If you're service learning, you only turn in service learning option stuff. So for example, go to 7B, the artist research only does the annotated bibliography, service learning only does these two things. All right. 7.C, artist research only does the PowerPoint, service learning only does the project. Now these dates, excuse me, I don't think there'll be a problem with the PowerPoint on this date, but for the service learning project, it may be difficult for people to get back to you. So let me know if you need more time, and that's not a problem at all. And again, everybody needs to do the work log. And if we go to 7D, then this is towards the end of the semester. Notice that it's towards the end of November. Ideally, I'm thinking right before Thanksgiving, we'll want to get these wrapped up. You're going to write, if you do artist research, you're going to do a slightly different variation of this assignment. And if you do service learning, a slightly different variation. And that's described in that assignment. And again, everybody does this, everybody does a work log. But as a service learning person, you only do service project stuff. As artist research, you only do the artist research stuff. If you have any questions, ask me and we will answer them. Okay? So there's that wrapped up. And then for module 2, defining volumetric form with line. I want to go through this with you. We're talking about form. And in this, the size of this is going to be about, it'll fit into a basketball is what we're looking at. And notice how people have used wire to make something three-dimensional. I don't particularly like these two examples because they look too flat. These are really interesting, but they're beyond the scope of what we expect to do in this class. Notice that this is a deer that looks like it's condensed out of wire, and this is a person that looks like it's unraveling, but they're made up of wire. This is more like what we're going to be doing, where it's a discrete object. You can tell what it is, but it's made out of three-dimensional scribble lines, basically creating the form. Now for the quiz, we're going to be going over the quiz next week. It says September 8th. It's I will change that. Let me change that right now. Because I don't think you necessarily need to get it done Sunday. Let's go ahead and change that. 15th, save. I do want people to be aware of this information so you can start doing it, but we don't need to have, since we're going over the quiz next week, we don't need to have that done. Now look at these artists and how they use wire to make three-dimensional form, which is what we want to do. Alexander Calder is fun, but the ones I really want you to look at are Ruth Asawa, Anthony Gormley, and David Oliveira. Look at those three guys, very much so. Look at what they do. I look at all of them, but we're particularly looking at objects in 3D space that look like they could be drawings, where the line almost looks like a drawing line. And then the artist review, again, the artist review, these prompts of these artists, you are only referring to the artists that were in that previous area right here, the background, these 6 artists. Those are the only artists you're looking at. I've had people pull artists off the internet and stuff like that to do this about. We're not doing that. Every artist review is only on the using the artists that are in that module that the artist review is in. And each one has different sets of prompts. Now for the wire sculpture, this is why you have to have the kit. You need to get the kit right away, because the wire sculpture requires you to use the wire that's in the kit. You're going to do about a half an hour of drawing where you're going to decide on an object. You can do several different sketches, refine it a bit. But you see how they're making kind of a 3D, not a 3D, sorry, a contour scribble drawing, essentially, where they're getting idea and motion and general form. And you can see how the person has scribbled, creating a form with this. This looks like a dog with its tail wagging. This may be a cat or something, a seagull, a rabbit. But you see that it's not a necessarily tight drawing. You don't have to do a tight drawing. And I want you to spend a significant amount of time making this. Now it says right here, 12 to 18 inches. I'm going to change that. I'll change that right now into something the size of a basketball. Okay. Okay, I'm going to change that right now. Should fit within so the size of the piece you create should fit should roughly fit within the volume of a standard basketball. It is okay to go a bit bigger, but you don't have an awful lot of wire to do this. If you want to buy your own wire and augment it, or you have wire laying around, that's awesome. Do that. And you can see from these scribbles, this is what people were doing. And the third step is taking photos. But here's some examples of how they were doing this. Your tennis shoes, notice how they just followed the lines where the different materials fit together. Teddy bear, notice how the arms are made in a different way than the head, the volume of the head is. Head is almost made with these loops, and then the arms are made with structures and then coils. There's Popeye. This one is interesting where it has several lines that are parallel, but they're held into a three-dimensional space by these rings that happen every once in a while. Here, it's the edges that make up the object right here, and then this kind of coils right in there. Bird cage is where the wires are in the bird cage. Here in this kind of sock puppet dog, you can see these parallel lines and then loops creating the form. And I really love this fish because there's so many different kinds of line quality. So think about stuff like that. You do have a pair of pliers. I would heartily recommend you also get a pair of gloves. So that is what we're going to be looking at next time. Now, I don't mean to be going through this really fast. We did get a lot of good conversation during the part that did not record. And again, I'm sorry about that. Then for this discussion, for this module, all you're going to be doing is sharing an image of what you've done. All right? So I hope that makes sense. And next week, we're going to go over a little bit more by covering the quiz and everything. Remember to do your best. Remember that you need to get that kit this week, just as soon as you can. I'm sorry that construction can be a booger, can be a pain in the butt. The building is open from 7 in the morning until 11 at night, Monday through Saturday. If the 5th floor doors are locked and the building should still be open, go up to the 6th floor and go in that way. And then you can find your way down to the room 519. So I hope that helps. If you do have any questions about any of the things I talked about, give me an email, shoot me an email. And this is only going to be about a half an hour long is all. And I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I don't know why the recording did not work previously. But I will post this watch it as soon as you can, and let me know right away when you get those kits. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope everybody had a good, safe holiday weekend, and I hope you have a good, safe week and weekend coming up. And I look forward to seeing the things that you create.